Today starts the final full week of Season 2 within Warzone, Cold War, and even Modern Warfare. So today we're going to take a look at what you can expect for the next 7 days here across all things COD. With a few things like Infinity Ward rising from the dead to give some clarity here on the removed maps that were added recently, to things like teasers for Warzone Season 3 and Black Ops Cold War Season 3. As we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. If you could add one thing to Season 3 across any of these 3 games, what would it be and why? Hit me with your thoughts and comment down below. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so I'm a single thing running all things Warzone, Cold War, and even Modern Warfare as we round into what is a big week potentially before Season 3. If you guys are interested in joining the community, I'd love to have you. And finally, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for the best blue light glasses on the market. Protect your eye health and be comfortable all at the same time. Link in the description below. But said, let's talk about what is up on deck for the next 7 days in Call of Duty. First, let's talk about the given, the things that we know thanks to Call of Duty's official channels themselves. And as with most Mondays, we did get a brief look at what's coming with the week in a weekly briefing on their blog. This week, admittedly, it's pretty small by comparison to other weeks, and that's partially to be expected if you follow the ebbs and flows of marketing and the content releases. A week and a half ago was the mid-season update. This week was the release of the ZRG 20mm and Rivas. This coming week, though, should be a valley in terms of excitement and content releases because the next week is the start of Season 3, so we'll have again another large content drop in addition to all areas of COD. So for this week, content-wise, be warned it is a bit of a desert, but where we may lose out on content, we gain in terms of teasers and things that give us a glimpse into what's still coming. For content-wise, detailed this week by the blog post was firstly the new variation of gun game, Blueprint gun game, which had a somewhat short-lived or every so often appearance in Modern Warfare, but this now makes its way over into Cold War, with it being gun game, but instead of the base weapons, they are now blueprints of weapons on rotation, meaning you'll get some attachments naturally and then some cool skins that go along with it. It's certainly a niche playlist and one that I don't really think that I'm going to be playing too much, but it is up some people's alley. Gun game is quite a fun mode. I just can't find myself grinding it out like I could back in the day. Surprisingly though, in terms of actual content and playable things, that's the only thing that was detailed this week in terms of modes. The only other thing mentioned in relation to coming content isn't necessarily new content, but instead a content boost, as we'll see a triple-double weekend starting this Friday the 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, going until Monday the 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. This being your double XP, double weapon XP, and double battle pass progression, allowing you to rank up fully within the final days of the season, or actually I guess the real final weekend of the season. So you'll have a last-second chance to hit max prestige, hit tier 100, whatever it may be that you still need to accomplish on Season 2. This is exactly though why we talked about during last week's update that I said I wouldn't really buy tiers with that tier sale because this sort of thing usually happens, and I'm glad that it is happening again here, giving players a chance to complete stuff they may have not already for no additional cost, just their playtime. Outside of that though, the blog really only other details things like the coming shop items, which honestly, of the items showcased, they don't look all that great. Looks like a MAC 10 with a standard camo as a blueprint, which is part of the Stitch Sentinel bundle, then an XM4 bundle with the Sledgehammer variant for the Corpse Collector bundle. Honestly, the best part about both of these bundles coming throughout the week are the operator skins, which are pretty hardcore and pretty cool looking, but again, as someone who values what I can see in-game at all times in a first-person perspective of a first-person shooter, an operator skin isn't really going to be the factor that gets me to buy into a bundle, so these are likely a pass from me. Other than that though, there's a few other mentions of upcoming CDL information and some announcements for Warzone tournaments, but as you can see, it's kind of a dry week in terms of content. But that doesn't mean that you still shouldn't be somewhat excited for what we'll see throughout the coming days here, because what we got out of this blog post and what we can now start to see outside of just this blog post is some stuff pointing towards Season 3, the coming content here for all facets of Call of Duty. And in that final sequence of the descriptor for the coming content of this week, the blog post actually details with Season 3 right on the verge of dropping, be on the lookout for a tease of what's to come in Black Ops Cold War from Treyarch. Now, this part is mainly in this Call of Duty blog post describing what's coming for Black Ops Cold War, just because that's the mainline title that's in the limelight for this year. But that doesn't mean that Warzone isn't going to be getting some things as well, and actually it's already kind of started. But in terms of that marketing release and when we can start to see things happening, if you take a look back at Season 2's launch, the past season started on February 25th, but the teasers started officially on the 16th. 9 days earlier in that timeline and what was first introduced to us. That's starting with a Season 2 intro cinematic on the 16th, again, 9 days days before launch. Also on that same day, we got a weekly blog post detailing some teasers for the coming season and an Outbreak teaser on that day, the 16th as well. Again, still 9 days before launch. The official Season 2 trailer happened on the 18th, which was 1 week from launch, coming alongside that with a blog post on everything you need to know in relation to Season 2, as well as a roadmap of the coming content that we'd see in Cold War, and somewhat slightly pertaining to Warzone as well, but that was a very brief look at what was coming into Warzone. The trailer for Outbreak itself, a standalone Outbreak trailer and a subsequent blog post associated with that, happened on the 22nd, 3 days before the launch of Season 2. A Battle Pass trailer and blog went live on the 23rd, 2 days before launch, and then we saw a blog regarding all things Cold War and Warzone seasonal launch information, like update size and things like that, on the 24th, a little over 24 hours before launch. And alongside that, we got an Intel trailer and developer commentary as well on the 24th, talking about some of the Black Ops Cold War items and a little smaller Warzone teaser detailing the information on the Vodyanoi coming. But while Warzone didn't really have any publicly stated teasers from like Call of Duty's Twitter or their blog, the in-game teasers were going on that entire time in the background. So that included some things like the Vodyanoi moving off the coast of Rebirth Island with static transmissions detailing the ship's departure and subsequent problems with an infection of some kind, then all the way to the ship being seen in Verdansk off the coast, getting closer and closer every single day as a new day passed, with that storm cloud overhead until it finally launched as a new POI with Season 2. So by all accounts, we should be getting teasers here this week, and we're told that we will be, but it looks like it could start as early as tomorrow, which is definitely cool, being that that's the 9-day out mark, assuming we follow the same patterns here. As for Warzone, we've actually kind of started to see things already in terms of those active containment protocol level warnings, emergency broadcasts, and those missiles that will pop up from time to time in random games. But I'd imagine those in-game items are also going to be ramped up a little bit more, or at least some marketing on the digital front rather than in-game will be ramped up as well, especially if that Season 3 launch holds as much significance as all signs seem to point towards. So in terms of learning about coming content, this week should absolutely be huge, and that's what I'm really excited for. As for the immediate week ahead, though, we actually did learn a little bit about what is coming to Warzone this week in the final week of Season 2 via a promotional email and image from Call of Duty, in which we got a bit of a message regarding a survivor and their trek to high ground that made its way through Burger Town. In this image, we can end up seeing a napkin or a piece of paper with a message on it, a receipt, and an iPhone lookalike here with the containment protocol level on it still listed at 66%. So it doesn't seem like this is going to be raising for the final week of play, or at least not yet. But the note says, came looking for supplies, then blank arrived. Some burst into flames, which kind of answers that blank question beforehand, in which that's zombies, because we know of those elemental effects that some of them have. Took refuge in the food court, the others started releasing blank gas, again referring to those elemental zombies, lost appetite. Running out of options, will find higher ground at ketchup stains. Now, what's interesting is that according to David Barile, hope I'm pronouncing that right, over on Twitter, the Italian version of this actually clarifies a bit, saying to find high ground alla diga, which is to the dam. So that makes a lot of sense, not only because that was something that was data mined a while ago that dam would be a location here for this, but also that's where the zombies accidentally were for the first hour or so after last week's weekly refresh for Warzone. If you guys remember, for a very brief period of time, even though it was said that they would be going to Superstore, they actually weren't there until a secondary playlist update corrected that mistake. Instead, they were at Dam before going to Super, so it kind of was backwards here in that release schedule initially. So that's something that we can look forward to here as of this coming week. The dam will be the location for zombies. Now, what's also interesting is that this receipt on this image also caused quite a stir in the community, because if you take a look at it, the order number is 421, which we saw also in some other marketing material already dispersed throughout emails as well. So players are thinking 421 April 21st is something where we need to look forward to, which, while I'm not dismissing there might be something that happens on that day, I also think this may be a very simple explanation of this being when the season launches on the West Coast on 421, but 422, Thursday the 22nd, everywhere else in the world, just due to how time zones end up working out. So while this could point to something, just know that it could be something very simple like the launch day of Season 3 as well. But that's what we see here coming for Cold War and Warzone. But we talked about in this intro that Modern Warfare actually had some clarity here to it. Because if you guys remember back a couple of days ago, well, Al Rob Air Base and Drainage, 2 of the 3 maps that were introduced randomly and as a surprise with Season 2 Reloaded's update, those were actually removed with no real reasoning as to why. But for the first time in about a month, or I guess if you're looking at organic tweets and not just retweets, over a month here, Infinity Ward actually ended up tweeting about this, giving some clarity here for it, in which they said, we recently released 2 new maps to Modern Warfare, Drainage and Al Rob Airbase, which were available in private match. We temporarily removed them as they aren't quite ready and need a bit more love before returning. We'll update soon and when they'll be back. So one, it seems like this was maybe either, again, by mistake that these were released early, or there was something wrong on a fundamental level of their builds. Either way, though, they do say that they'll be back soon, and that is something that is a big question mark here again, that makes this whole final content DLC thing that we talked about a couple of days ago with Modern Warfare even crazier. We talked about how there were multiple levels here for this, where there were like 3 or 4 twists with this information already, and this just adds another one here to it. So be on the lookout for that, because it looks like that should be coming sometime soon. Whether or not that means that, say, things like that CX-9, Psychov pistol, RAL LMG, Soap operator, and Sparks operator will come as well, we don't know, but at least we have some clarity here, or at least some acknowledgement that these maps were introduced and then also removed by Infinity Ward officially. But that said, that is where we're at here at this, and that is the week ahead here for Call of Duty in all areas of Warzone, Cold War, and even Modern Warfare. So that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this here? Are you guys looking forward to anything in terms of teasers for Season 3? Are you looking forward to anything that may come of maybe Modern Warfare's reintroduction of those maps? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. And finally, a big thank you to Prob, Lewis, Drake, and Mike for their support of the channel and their use of code Espresso in the in-game shop. If you'd ever like to support the channel and ever find yourself interested in any shop items, you can use code Espresso in the Support a Creator function. It's an entirely optional way to help out the content, but if you ever do so, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out some of your generous support. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, Cold War, and Modern Warfare even, especially as we round into Season 3 here. So if you're interested in any of that, hit that subscribe button. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get content to YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.